cabin was hidden away in the Appalachian Mountains, where something scratched at the walls outside at night, and I kept waking up sitting straight up in bed, talking to someone or something that wasn't there. But the thing I still can't explain is what happened to a ring I locked away for safekeeping. Everything I'm about to tell you is true. I've spent decades trying to find a logical explanation for what happened. Some parts I can explain, most of them I can't. This happened in a cabin in the Appalachian Mountains, and even now I'm not sure we were ever there alone. I've told pieces of this story before, usually with a laugh at the end, but the truth is I still don't have an explanation for what happened in that cabin, and I don't think I ever will. This all happened in the early 90s after I left for college. That summer, my parents told me they had bought a cabin in the North Georgia mountains, in the Blue Ridge Range of the Appalachian Mountains. Before I could even react, they reassured me they weren't moving there permanently. It was just a vacation home, a place to escape the city. My dad hoped to retire after I graduated, and they wanted somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful. At first, it sounded idyllic. My mom loved the cabin almost immediately. She spent long stretches there alone, hiking trails, enjoying the silence. She was an avid hiker and quickly joined the local hiking club. I think she felt free there, free from routines, free from noise, free from everything. The first summer we went up, the cabin didn't even have electricity yet. We stayed in the only motel in town until it could be connected. The motel was run down. It smelled damp, and I remember having to ask in the lobby for a fly swatter because our room was full of flies, swarming the walls and window, totally giving Amityville horror vibes. It seems like a small detail now, but I think it was the first time I felt truly unsettled. When we finally started staying in the cabin, strange things didn't happen all at once. They crept in slowly. At night, I began waking up in the middle of conversations. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't half awake. I would open my eyes and realize I was sitting straight up in bed, speaking, as if someone were sitting beside me, but the space next to me was empty. I've always talked in my sleep, or so I've been told, but this was different. I had never woken up mid conversation before. I had never sat upright while talking, and I had never felt so strongly that I had been responding to someone. What made it worse was I don't dream, or at least I never remember my dreams. I really never have. No nightmares, no lingering images, no memories of what had been said, just silence. We were outsiders in Appalachia. This happened before anyone talked about the rules of the region openly. No one told us not to leave our windows open. No one told us to close the blinds at night. We were friendly with our neighbors, but we all left our windows open all the time. We had no air conditioning, so every summer night we slept with the windows wide open, the blinds lifted, the woods fully exposed to us. Just a thin layer of screen between us and the trees. Looking back, I sometimes wonder if that mattered. Not long after, I started waking up unable to move. It felt like being trapped between sleep and waking. I was fully aware, but my body wouldn't respond. I tried to move my arms, nothing. I tried to move my legs, nothing. And then I saw them, orbs. They hovered near the window, floating slowly through the darkness. I could see them as three-dimensional objects in the room. They didn't move randomly, they moved with intention. I watched them while I lay there frozen, knowing I was awake, but unable to explain what I was seeing. The next summer, my friends came to visit for a week. Three sisters I had grown up with, our friend Joey, and my boyfriend at the time, Jay, who spent summers with us in the mountains. The cabin was tiny, so the girls stayed inside with me, and Jay and Joey agreed to sleep in the camper outside. During the day, everything felt normal. We explored small towns, we went hiking, we went whitewater rafting on the Ocoee River. We ended up going back for a second day because we had so much fun the first day. When they arrived, Lori handed me her heavy 10-carat gold class ring. She asked me to keep it safe while we were hiking and rafting. I took it to my room, put it in a box, closed the lid, and placed the box in a drawer. It stayed there all week. We forgot about it completely. On the river, our guide realized we were strong swimmers, and he taught us how to escape the hydraulics. The second day at a rapid called Hell's Hole, everything went wrong. After we helped another raft escape the rapid, our own raft was sucked in. We were thrown into the river, scattered by the current, tossed about like rag dolls. I surfaced from the river to hear Lori screaming. She thought her younger sister was trapped in the hydraulic. Her younger sister was tiny. She was not as strong of a swimmer as the rest of us. Seconds passed that felt like minutes. Then someone finally surfaced. It wasn't her younger sister. It was her older sister. When she came up, Lori realized her sister was safe, and we floated downriver in shaken silence. Back at the cabin, strange things were happening in different ways. Every night, Jay and Joey heard scratching on the camper. They heard footsteps circling it. One night, Jay asked me if we were pranking them or if we had heard anything. We hadn't. But while they listened to the scratching outside, I was inside the cabin, waking up mid-conversation with no one there. At the end of the week, Lori asked for her ring back. I went to my room, opened the drawer, took out the box, and lifted the lid. Her older sister stood next to me. The ring was no longer circular. Half of it had been flattened, pressed down into a shape that looked more like a capital D than a ring. It looked as if it had been crushed by something. I showed it to her sister and asked what she thought happened. She said it must have conformed to fit Lori's finger. I knew it wasn't possible, but I was 100% willing to accept this answer because I didn't want to consider the alternatives. And honestly, I had no other explanation. When I handed it to Lori, she insisted it hadn't looked like that when she gave it to me. I agreed. But no one had touched it. It had been in a closed box, in a closed drawer, in our quiet little cabin in the woods. Eventually, Lori managed to bend the ring back into shape. Today, we still talk about it and laugh, but none of us really knows how it happened. My parents eventually sold that cabin and bought a larger house in a different county. That house is peaceful. A few strange things have happened there, but nothing like before. Even now, decades later, I can't explain the conversations in the dark, the sleep paralysis, the orbs, the scratching on the camper, or that flattened ring. I don't claim to know what it was. I only know it happened, and I know it didn't feel like coincidence. People say the woods are empty at night. After that summer, I know better. Stories like this don't always have answers. But if you've experienced something you can't explain, something you've never told anyone, this is a safe place to share it. Submit your true scary story to this channel, and it could be read in a future episode. Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that don't sound impossible. They sound real. And if you've stuck around this long, a quick heartfelt thank you to everyone who has liked, followed, or subscribed. Your support means more than you know and helps to keep these stories alive. If you're new here, I'm Maggie, and this is Midnight with Maggie, your late night storyteller, bringing you true tales that are strange, spooky, and just a little unsettling. And this is my true story of what happened at our family cabin in the Appalachians. Until next time, sleep with the lights off if you dare, and remember, not every presence announces itself.